PTE Help, Test 24, Retell Lecture and Summarize Spoken Text.
Yeah, and so I've got a graph here, which is looking at the heat release rate, or the energy being released with respect to time. So in this early stage, not a lot of energy is being released. So you've got a very small amount of energy being released from that fire. But that fire has kind of started that combustion, that pyrolysis of the materials really close to it. And so we start getting a bigger fire. That feedback is happening to the localized materials. And we start getting a bigger fire, so we have more energy being released. And we have kind of those two heat transfer mechanisms happening again. We've got radiation and we've got conduction. We've also got a difference there. So we've got a slightly larger fire here than our match. And what's happening is all those hot gases are starting to be caught at the top of the room. Yeah, they're not being allowed to escape. That's going to play a very important role in a few slides' time. So we've still got that fire, but it needs air. It needs oxygen. So we've got this air flow coming in to the room. Yeah, and that is helping to drive the hot gases up, and that's why we have this slight tilt in our smoke. If it was in a nice big open space, we'd have a nice symmetrical plume going up, a nice kind of conical shape. But when you start adding it into a compartment where you have a restricted amount of air coming in, that plume starts to be kind of pushed towards that back wall. And in this case, that would be pushed toward that curtain.
PTE Help, Test 24, Retell Lectures and Summarize Spoken Text. The lecturer explains a graph and picture of the process of heat release, with respect to time. Firstly, a small amount of energy or heat is released, but when this increases due to the combustion of localized material, then more energy gets released. Moreover, it has been highlighted that there are two heat transfer mechanisms, radiation and conduction. The speaker also mentioned that airflow is a key driver, helping to raise hot gases and tilt in smoke in a symmetrical room.
PTE Help, Test 24, Retell Lecture and Summarize Spoken Text.
I think it might be GAD, or Generalized Anxiety Disorder. Now, the first portion of the criteria I think is the most important, and that is that someone who has GAD struggles with excessive anxiety and worry, apprehensive expectation, occurring more days than not for at least 6 months. And that's always important. How long has it been going on? For at least 6 months. About a number of events or activities such as work or school performance. And now we're moving on to the next portion. It says the individual finds it difficult to control the worry. The next criteria is that the anxiety and worry are associated with 3 or more of the following 6 symptoms, with at least some symptoms having been present for more days than not in the past 6 months. Now, there are 6 of these, and they're going to have 3 or more. An important note is that while we need 3 or more of the following 6 symptoms as adults, children only need 1. Okay, the first is restlessness or feeling keyed up or on edge. Next is being easily fatigued. Third is difficulty concentrating. The fourth is irritability. 5 is muscle tension, which can look like trembling, twitching, having the shakes, feeling achy or sore. And the last, number 6, is sleep disturbance. It's going to be difficulty falling or staying asleep, restless or unsatisfying sleep.
PTE Help, Test 24. Sample 90 scores response. The speaker elucidates the symptoms and ill effects of generalized anxiety disorder when people struggle with excessive apprehension. It has been mentioned that GAD disturbs the work performance and declines the control. Individuals find it difficult to control over worry. It is associated with 6 symptoms such as restlessness, getting easily fatigued, difficulty in concentration, irritability, muscle tension, like aching, soaring, or trembling, and sleep disturbance. PTE Help, Test 24. Retell lecture and summarize spoken text.
I was talking about kind of these differences in South Africa, so not in Cape Town, but in South Africa. We've got 374 under 5s dying each year, which is a death rate of 6.3, and 274 over 70s, which is 14.8 deaths per 100,000. If we compare that to the UK, in 2013 we had 2 under 5s dying, and we had 117 over 70s. So when we kind of start thinking about kind of the impacts on low middle income countries and within South Africa, children are potentially kind of 11 times, probably more like 7 times more likely to be affected by fire. So I just wanted to kind of highlight these total fire deaths and these rates for these two kind of populations, the very young who don't know what to do, and the very old who aren't necessarily capable of moving out the way of the fire in time, because these things spread quickly, as I'll show you soon.
PTE Help, Test 24. Sample 90 scores response. The lecturer points out the impact of fires in South Africa. The fire mortality rate in South Africa is much higher than in the UK. The impacts on low-middle-income countries are more. The speaker highlighted that children are 7% more likely to be affected by the fire. Unfortunately, the young age group has a lack of proper knowledge to take proper action, and elders are disabled to move quickly. In conclusion, these two age groups are mostly affected by fire accidents in low-middle-income countries in South Africa.